Live here from UCLA, I'm Jeremy Schnell alongside Ian Martin and Isaac Glasser. We're talking about Pac-12 football. Now, what do you think, Ian, what do you think about the Pac-12 North? Who's going to win?
The Pac-12 North every year seems to come down to two teams, the Oregon Ducks and the Stanford Cardinal. I believe this year is truly the Ducks' year. Marcus Mariota, second-year QB, he had a great freshman year. Coming into a second year, I believe he'll come in better than ever and lead the Ducks to that Pac-12 North championship that they've been waiting for.
Isaac, what do you think?
I'm going to agree with Ian on this one. This is the Ducks to win. I think they're a better team all around than Stanford, and that gives them the best shot more than anyone to win the North. Again, looking at what Mariota has done at least last year, and he enters this year as a Heisman favorite. I think he will win the Heisman over Winston. Winston not winning a second one, so I think it'll be a good year for the Ducks. They may just go undefeated and win the North.
Now, losing D'Anthony Thomas, is that going to do anything for Oregon this year?
You know, I think it will a little bit. Apparently, he's looked really good in the NFL, which is an interesting thing to see, at least so far through training camp. But I think the Ducks have such a good program, and they recruit well, and they have good coaches, and I think that finding a replacement shouldn't be too much of a problem for them.
All right, so moving on to the Pac-12 South. You got USC and UCLA. Which team is going to come out on top? Those are the two teams that everybody's saying are the two top teams in the Pac-12 South.
Yeah, you really have to look at UCLA. They had such a strong season last year, and you would expect that they would come back even stronger with a senior QB in Brett Hundley, who could have been the number one overall QB selected last year if he decided to go into the draft. USC has 4 5-star recruits coming in, and Steve Sarkisian coming back from UW as the new head coach. He was their offensive coordinator a couple years back. USC will be very strong, but it's just that freshman team. After losing a wide receiver like Marquise Lee, who's that veteran ability to lead a team, they're missing a lot. They're an incredibly young team. I do believe, like Oregon in the North, this is UCLA's division to win.
All right. I mean, that's no bias because we're here at UCLA, Ian, right?
Yeah.
Isaac, what do you think? Gonna be biased again?
Well, no, I think the USC definitely has the capability to win this. The problem is that they always seem to disappoint. They always seem to go lower than the expectations set for them before the season. And looking at them this year with Sarkisian, how quickly can Sarkisian get this program on track? You got a team like UCLA, which has so much experience, and a quarterback like Brett Hundley. They're going to be firing full speed ahead from the start of the season. So I think this will be UCLA's year, and it'll be interesting to see how that ends up.
All right, now one more question, guys. Who do you think is going to win the Apple Cup this year?
Apple Cup between UW and Wazoo. UW looked very well, or very good, I might say. Siler Miles, their starting QB, did get suspended for the first game of the year. I believe he will eventually take over the starting position every week. I believe this is UW's game to lose this year. They have a much stronger defense and a much stronger offense, even with the losses of their starting QB, running back, and tight end.
All right, quickly, Isaac, Apple Cup.
I'm actually going to go against Ian and go with Wazoo. I think that Washington has kind of a weaker team than they had last year without Sankey, without ASJ, Safarin Jenkins, and that Washington State's pass offense will get them, and that'll be how it ends up.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thanks for listening. From UCLA, Jeremy Schnell, Isaac Glasser, Ian Martin.
From Reber Courtyard, live at the UCLA campus, which was recently flooded, I'm Jake Leiker with Brandon Ureno and Noah Freeman. Of course, last week, the big news on campus, a water main breaking on Sunset Boulevard, flooding key athletic facilities on the campus, including the UCLA men's basketball gym, Pauley Pavilion. And right now, they're in the middle of replacing the floor, but they have other replacing to worry about with the season coming up very soon.
I absolutely agree with that. Rebuilding the stadium, that's one thing, but rebuilding the team is a totally new task. After losing 3 starters in Anderson, Adams, and Levine, one can really question what's it going to look like for UCLA basketball this year. Well, they're going to rely heavily on second-year returner Tony Parker, and mostly, though, on their high school recruits that they're bringing in fresh this year.
Yeah, especially with the additions of Kayvon Looney and Isaac Hamilton, and especially Thomas Welsh, who played against my alma mater Palisades at Loyola when he was at Loyola, the 7-footer, scored 13 points and 4 boards at the state tournament this year. So I think UCLA is going to be pretty good with their freshman class coming in for 2014-2015.
Well, with so many new additions on this team, they do not have much time to make sure they can get it together, as they're slated to play in the prestigious Battle for Atlantis early season tournament. And the bracket was released this morning. They'll be playing against Oklahoma to kick things off. If they win that game, they'll go on to play the winner of North Carolina and Butler. Other upper tier teams in that tournament, including Wisconsin, Florida, UAB, and Georgetown. So they don't have much time to get things together, but at the Battle for Atlantis, they're already used to playing under deep water here. President of Basketball Organization Operations Tyus Edney told us yesterday that the team is currently practicing in the SAC, as they call it, the Student Activities Center, where the old gym where Wooden's teams play in the 70s. That's where they're practicing right now. But of course, they have other things to look forward to in the future, especially how will things turn out this season in the Pac-12. A lot of questions to be answered. Noah, what do you think?
I think that UCLA is going to do very well in the Pac-12 this year. I think they'll go 25-7. I think that they'll finish second in the conference. Arizona is the premier team, getting Stanley Johnson from Mater Dei, right here in Southern California. So UCLA is definitely going to have a challenge with Arizona, but I think that they'll finish second in the Pac-12.
I see a 23-9 season coming up. Losing those starters is going to be tough. And the thing is, with the schedule and the Battle for Atlantis, they are going to be challenged immediately. They have got to get these recruits going and at full speed as soon as possible. And if they can do that, it's going to be a very good season, just like it was last year.
Well, of course, speaking of last year, they won the Pac-12 tournament, but they have quite the challenge ahead. A big issue for them last year, size. But with recruits coming in as, of course, the aforementioned Kevon Looney and the 7-foot Thomas Welsh, they finally have size, but they've lost experience. Leading this team will be the athletic and dynamic senior Norman Powell, of course, with other combo guards such as the son of Coach Steve Alford, Bryce Alford. We'll see how everything turns out. I'm expecting a second-place finish for them. Again, it'll be very tough to match the caliber of Arizona, but it'll be very interesting to see how all these new pieces fit in. You also have a Hungarian center transferring in Georgi Goloman, and as well as a transfer from Colorado State point guard John Octius. Of course, at the end of the day, though, how far will they go in the tournament if they make it there at all? High expectations with such a prestigious basketball program. Last year they made it to the Sweet 16 and lost to Florida. What do you guys expect this year from a younger team that's going to have less tournament experience?
I think that the youth should help them. I think that being faster is better now in this day and age, and they'll get down the floor faster, they'll score more points, they'll play better defense, and UCLA should go pretty far in the NCAA tournament this year.
I definitely think the Sweet 16 would be a big jump and a high expectation this year. Here's my thing. This year can go either way, but I think in the years to come, really, with all this freshness and youth, they are going to be a force in the Pac-12 for a long time to come now. And I think the recruiting this year really, really set that mark for them.
Well, of course, when you're playing on a basketball program like UCLA, expectations are always high. Of course, former coach Ben Howland led this team to 3 consecutive Final Fours in 2006, 2007, and 2008. They, of course, also produced a lot of NBA talent. There's always high expectations here. How will these young guys match up to the hype? Guys, it'll be very interesting to see how things work out from the UCLA campus. For Brandon Ulora and Noah Freeman, I'm Jake Leiker.
Hello, Los Angeles. Broadcasting from UCLA, I'm Borna Nazari, and these are my partners, Ami Nelson and Jake Goodman.
We have received news that UCLA campus and its own Poly Pavilion was flooded by a 90-year-old pipe bursting and spilling gallons of water. Now, the UCLA Bruins basketball team was practiced in the old gym where Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Walton played.
Now let's switch to the football field. The UCLA football team has high hopes going into this season. They have a Heisman candidate in Brett Hundley, and they have high hopes to win a championship with the addition of a 4-team playoff. They will be testing their first 3 games this season against Oregon, Stanford, and their main rivals, USC.
Shifting back to the basketball court, UCLA Bruins lost 3 first-rounders last year in Kyle Anderson, Zach LaVine, and Jordan Adams, but they have recruited 4 big men all above 6 foot 10 inches. Even though they are a very young team, they have high expectations. Also, however they are a young team, pressure deals with young people. I'm born in Nazari, and this is Jake Goodman and Ami Nelson. Thank you. Dude,
Hi, I'm Zach Ferber, along with my partners Jordan Hunter and Isaiah Hooper here with SBC Broadcasting Program Camps. All right, we're going to be talking about the UCLA up-and-coming collegiate seasons. Let's talk about basketball first. Isaac Hamilton, finally making his debut here, ready to take his offensive game to a whole new level. The five-star recruit coming from the University of Texas El Paso is ready to take over the prolific Jordan Adams spot. Let's go to Jordan now.
Well, in football, UCLA is expected to be one of the top college football teams in the country. They're led by quarterback Brett Hundley. They have some tough games. Brett Hundley is expected to be a Heisman Trophy candidate. They have some tough games on their schedule, including games against USC, Oregon, and Stanford, but luckily those games are all at home.
All right, to Isaiah now.
I am sideline reporter Isaiah Hooper about some upcoming news about a new soccer rising star, Dakota Havling, who my friend Zach here actually knows. He comes from Marietta High School, and he is only 17 years old, and he will be attending UCLA shortly. He is one of the top goalies in the nation, and be sure to look out for him for UCLA's first soccer game against Nebraska on August 19th on Tuesday.
All right, well, that ought to do it for Zach. Jordan, Isaiah, thank you very much for listening. Have a great rest of the day.
Okay, guys, that was Hammer.
Hey everybody, I'm Aubrey Dobbs here with Caroline Lynch and Gabby Rivas, and we are here from Sports Talk. I'm here to talk to you about the UCLA women's volleyball team. This year, they have returning coach Michael Seeley for his 5th season with the girls, and he's hoping to get another national championship as he once did in 2011. In order to do this, he's recruited 5 new players for the team, 4 of which are from transfers from other colleges, and 1 who came all the way from Greece, who once played on a professional team. These girls, the ones that have come from the United States, are nationally ranked above 100, and they can do some major help to the team. Let's go to Caroline to see what the basketball team is looking like.
This season for the UCLA men's basketball team, they have a huge height advantage, which will be great for their rebounding, with players reaching between 6'6" and 7 feet tall.
Now we're going to go to Gabby so we can hear about the latest UCLA incident.
And speaking of the basketball team, they are now practicing in an alternate gym because of the flooding. Over 20 million gallons of water have flooded the UCLA campus. 6 facilities were damaged. 2 of them are now open, Drake Field and Ash Stadium. And athletic director Dan Guerrero has announced that the new basketball court will be finished in time for the start of the 2014 basketball season.
That's all with our sports talk. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Christian Duhan alongside Robert Dieters and Josh Gervich. And today we are talking about the UCLA water break. You guys have any opinions on that, Josh? Robert?
My opinion on this, and yeah, I'm Robert, is that the flood, well, I was going to come to camp this year, coming into a week. Found out the gym's not even open. A little disappointing because I actually did want to work out while I was here in a really nice facility. Well, that's out of the equation. We were going to go see Pauley Pavilion, but, that's filled up with water. It's really disappointing to see. It's only been like a year old, and now they pretty much have to redo the whole gym floor. Kind of sad to see.
Josh, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, there was 20 million gallons of water that leaked out of the water main break, and UCLA just had a over $130 million renovation in 2012, and they don't know if they're going to be ready for the basketball season, and they're training at a different gym right now.
In other news, we're going to be talking about basketball. Kyle Anderson and Jordan Adams, and also Zach LaVine, have gone to the NBA and have been drafted in the first round. What do you guys think about Jordan Adams?
Jordan Adams going to Memphis, I think this is going to be really interesting. You bring in a guy that's young, especially with Tony Allen and Vince Carter. Vince Carter is obviously going to give you that clutch type of performance, and obviously Tony Allen's going to be your main starter. But I think Jordan Adams, this guy, I think he's going to progress in the point guard, shooting guard type of position. I'm really going to be interested to see what he can do. And this guy is a shooter, so let's see what he can do in the NBA. He's going to be an offensive type of guy.
And they have their 6'9" point guard, who just got drafted to the San Antonio Spurs, Kyle Anderson. Josh, you have anything to say about Kyle Anderson?
Yes, Kyle Anderson will have a great chance to improve and be a leader on the San Antonio Spurs. He is a power forward, and he'll probably be behind Tim Duncan, who will get the starting nod. Boris Diaw is listed as a power forward, but is actually more of a small forward. They have Matt Bonner and Aaron Baines as well, who are both not ready yet for the big stage. So Kyle Anderson will probably be number 2 and come off the bench after Tim Duncan. And with Patty Mills out for half of the season, he'll get more playing minutes that will accumulate to him being a better leader on the San Antonio Spurs.
And also, Zach LaVine was also drafted to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the lottery picks. Zach LaVine is very athletic. He can shoot. He's very explosive. I'm sure he'll have a good season in the NBA. And that'll wrap it up today, guys. Have a good day. With Robert Dieters and Josh Gervich, I'm Christian Duhan. We'll see you guys later.
Welcome to the Bruin Update alongside Nick Rice and Miles Walker. My name's Chris Sylvester. As you can see behind me, we're at the beautiful campus here at UCLA, the University of California at Los Angeles. The talk of the town has to be the football team. Coaches poll came out this past Sunday. The UCLA Bruins ranked 7th in the nation. They returned their junior quarterback stud, redshirt junior, but he still is a junior. Brett Hundley, definitely a Heisman candidate this year. How do you like the Bruins' chances at potentially not only winning the Pac-12, but being a team that contends for a national title?
Oh, the Bruins have an excellent chance to win the title this year. They have their junior quarterback coming back in Brett Hundley. He is an easy Heisman candidate, if not the top one, right behind Jameis Winston. They have a great defense returning this year. Like I said, a great quarterback, and honestly, I think they're praised not only to win the Pac-10, definitely be in the BCS championship.
Yeah, UCLA, not only do they return Brett Hundley, but they have Miles Jack coming back. He plays on both sides of the ball. He's a great linebacker, and he's a great running back as well. Really emerged as a fantastic option out of the backfield for the Bruins and Jim Mora last season towards the end. UCLA going to be fun to watch this year. And Nick, they're going to be fun to watch for years to come. Yeah. I know you cover St. John Bosco, the defending national champions of high school football. Josh Rosen, the quarterback, is going to be coming into this beautiful campus next year. But let's talk about two of the guys that UCLA gets from St. John Bosco this year. They get Jaleel Wadood, one of the top athletes in the nation, and you also get a great defensive lineman in Jacob Teote Mariner. After covering these guys for a season, what type of impact can they make at the Division I level?
Well, they can make a huge impact, maybe even a rookie impact, or per se a freshman impact. UCLA has a relatively tough season schedule given they're such a high ranking in the nation, so you could expect these guys to have somewhat of a rotational feel because, I mean, down the stretch, UCLA is going to need some defensive presence. Teote Mariner, one of the better run-stuffing guys in the Trinity League. Then on the offensive side, Jaleel Wadood, he's a guy that can step in day one. He has the agility, he has the speed, and frankly, he has basically all of the tools to be great at the college level.
UCLA football certainly going to be fun to watch this season. They opened up camp yesterday. Day 2 of camp takes place this afternoon. Moving on from football to basketball here. I know basketball doesn't start till mid-November, but we got to talk about the floods last week, guys. Really tough to hear the news about Pauley Pavilion. They just renovated that place for $136 million 3 years ago. Now they're going to have to redo that historic floor where John Wooden once coached. How tough a blow is this for a UCLA basketball program that's back up on the rise?
It's very tough because now they have to renovate a very old floor and one that some former UCLA superstars used to play on, which is going to take some time. Going to take a little bit of getting used to for the UCLA basketball team, but I honestly feel it's not going to be that much of a big deal.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough blow for Coach Alford, and only his second year here with the Bruins. The Bruins, Nick, a Sweet 16 team last year. We talked to the director of basketball operations for the Bruins yesterday. He said he likes his team's chances to potentially win the Pac-12 this year, but it's going to take a lot of starters left. You had 3 guys go in the first round of the NBA draft. UCLA has had a consistent legacy since the beginning of time, really, and they expect that to continue with the new flux of freshmen and transfers coming in this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a young team, but it's going to be an energized team filled with a bunch of depth at the basketball position, especially at the number 3 spot. They have a number of guys that can come in rotationally and play. Their schedule, same with football, a relatively tough one. They play Kentucky very early, a nationally ranked ball club. So it's going to be interesting to see how UCLA fares, but I think just this flood is one of those type of tests that really dictate a good team from a great team. And guys, one of the better coaches in all of the land, I think he can come in and make a big impact. And I mean, there's still plenty of time, and they have another gym that they can play on. I mean, if UCLA is a championship team, they'll prove it with this flood.
Yeah, UCLA still amongst NCAA teams at Division I basketball level, the most NCAA championships. That's going to wrap it up here for the Bruin Report. A lot of stuff to be excited about on campus this upcoming fall with the football and basketball teams expected to do some very big things. For Nick Rice, for Miles Walker, my name's Chris Sylvester. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in next week where we interview head coach Jim Mora.
From the UCLA campus, this is Daniel West alongside Ryan Vance and Nick Huang. We're here to talk about all things UCLA on-campus sports and off-campus too. Let's go now to Ryan for an update about Brett Hundley's chances of winning the Heisman in football this year.
Yes, UCLA is ranked number 7 in the polls that came out a couple weeks ago. And of course, they're led by Brett Hundley, their junior quarterback, who looks to have a great season this year, maybe even try to lead them to the national championship. And I think he's a top Heisman candidate.
Very good. I wanted to take a look at the UCLA schedule. This year they have home games against Oregon, Stanford, and USC, all in the same season, and that's just in their Rose Bowl. Outside of the stadium in Pasadena, they have games at Cal, at Arizona State, and at Washington, which is never a fun place to play. So if they win some of those games, they could be looking at another berth in the Pac-12 championship game, maybe even a spot in the new college football New Year's Six bowl system, or maybe even the college football playoff. Now for an update on the basketball, we go to Nick Huang.
Yeah, so this year the UCLA lost three big contributors to the team: Kyle Anderson, Zach Levine, and Jordan Adams. But they brought in Isaac Hamilton and Thomas Welsh to help bring some of that scoring punch, along with the veteran presence of now senior Norman Powell.
All right, thank you very much. Getting back to football quickly, who do you think are the biggest, would you say, threats to Brett Hundley in the Heisman race? Ryan?
If we were talking about players, I'd have to say Marcus Mariota out of Oregon, one of his rivals, and Jameis Winston out of the reigning national champion Florida State University.
All right, thank you for that. We will keep you up to date on all the latest UCLA sports from the campus. This is Daniel West with Ryan Vance and Nick Huang, and that's all for now.
Hi, this is Eli Howe, along with my partners,
John Drogan-Sacra
and Charlie Downey. We're here at the UCLA campus. In some big news, UCLA got 3 players drafted in the first round: Kyle Anderson, Jordan Adams, and Zach Levine. How do you think this is going to fare for them?
I think it's going to be a big loss, but on the upside, they are getting a few players back from last year that they didn't have. I thought that was a disadvantage at first, but now that they're coming back this season and they lost 3 of their best players, some of the good players coming off the bench that were hurt are coming back. I think that's going to really improve for them.
Oh, they also got a transfer, Isaac Hamilton, and a couple big men, all over 6'8", so that will help them in the paint. What do you think?
I think it's a great pickup. I think they're going to be a really good team this year. Final 4 contenders. They can do really well.
One thing to worry about is they do not have a small forward, but maybe Powell can fill that gap. Now on to another thing. Pauley Pavilion was flooded just 2 years after it was renovated. What's your take on this?
I think that UCLA put a lot of money. $136,000 is a lot of money to put into one stadium, even for a college. But since it got flooded, I mean, there were about 6 inches of water on that floor, which makes it, I mean, what are they going to do? They're still probably cleaning water out of places. Half the campus was flooded. I think that this is a big problem for the basketball team and the basketball arena and what's going to happen.
Okay, what do you think?
I think it's some bad news, but they can bounce back from this, and they should bounce back from this.
Okay, now on to football. Brett Hundley, what do you think of him?
I think he's going to be a very good quarterback at UCLA, especially with this team. He's a Heisman contender, very nice guy. I heard he's always thinking about plays. He's always talking to his wide receivers and tight ends and everybody. I think he's a really nice guy, and he's going to fit well in this organization.
Okay, and what do you think about him?
It's a great system. He's got a great quarterback atmosphere. I think he can be a great quarterback, for this team going forward.
Okay, from UCLA, this was Eli Howell,
Charlie Downey,
and
Sean Sakura.
Thank you. And
good night. From UCLA.
Hi, I'm Nathan Morales here on the UCLA campus. Devastating news struck when the Poly Pavilion was flooded during sunset. It took $136 million to rebuild it, and now it's under 3 feet of water. Not only that, but the basketball team does not have a home stadium, and now they're going to have to play on the road and maybe not play this season, which I highly doubt. The devastation struck when the Poly Pavilion was flooded from a water leak, and also what happened was the people who were practicing there cannot practice there, and they don't have a court. Speaking about basketball, here's Nick talking about how UCLA will do without the court and how they would do in college basketball.
Losing 3 first-round picks to the NBA, UCLA looks to recover with a group of freshmen and gaining a bunch of height. Freshman Thomas Wells is 7 foot and a McDonald's All-American. They'll look to count on him and fellow freshman 6'10" power forward to count for rebounds and their height up front. They'll look for Isaac Hamilton, a guard, to kind of transfer guard to come over and kind of steal and man the point guard position. Look for the Bruins to contend for the Pac-12 championship and then make another deep NCAA tournament run. Now over to Jason for football.
Hi, I'm Jason Goldstein, and UCLA, there's a lot of hope for football. They have been ranked the number 8 team in the country, and there's a lot of hype with Brett Hundley returning for his junior year, and there's a lot of buzz surrounding that he's a Heisman candidate. A lot of people may say that Marcus Mariota is the Heisman favorite in the Pac-12, but you talk to anyone on UCLA, they'll say that it's definitely Brett Hundley, and he had a terrific season last year, and he's hoping that going to junior year, he can only increase his draft stock and hoping that he made the right decision, unlike we've seen some quarterbacks in the past. But UCLA is very confident entering the season, and their defense should be good too, despite the loss of Anthony Barr to the NFL.
So, Jason, will they be doing better than they did last year, or will they decline in their talent level?
I think so, because I think Brett Hundley is only going to get better this season. I mean, the defense lost Anthony Barr, but they're still a terrific defense. And I think their running game should be good this year. I think it's going to be an improved year, with a much weaker Pac-12.
I have a question for you, Jason. What side do you think of the ball Miles Jack will play? Obviously, last year he split carries with running back and played linebacker, and was actually played really, really well. And my question for you is, what side?
I think he's going to be running back this season because he's obviously an athletic guy, and Brett Hundley is going to want someone to run the option with him. I could see him playing both, but I think running back is definitely going to be his main position this year. After the loss of James Franklin, UCLA is going to want another running back.
I have a question for you, Nick. I know, like I said, the pavilion was in destruction almost, and it took lots of money. It's going to take lots of money to repair. But UCLA did get a bunch of height, but they lost people who knew their play style and their game plan. So, like I asked him, do you think their talent is going to excel or decline?
I think they'll start off rough, and it'll be a tough first couple weeks as they adjust. I mean, they're probably going to have to adjust to second-year head coach Steve Alford's system with the freshmen. They're definitely going to want to use that height. They're definitely want to try and get that freshman in there, get some experience. So in the later games, when they get to the tournaments, when they get to the Pac-12, get to the NCAA, and they're playing tougher teams who are more experienced than them, they're going to try and use that height to their advantage. And they're going to have to learn the system and get some experience as fast as they can, so that way they'll be better off, and I expect the Bruins to make another Sweet 16 appearance, possibly Elite Eight.
Good answer. Now, here's the real question. Which sport do you think will have more popularity, football or basketball?
I think football. With the Poly Pavilion Center, it's going to hurt the basketball hype, and the football stadium is going to be drawing a lot of attention, especially because they do have a Heisman candidate in Brett Hundley and a good chance at winning the national title.
Good answer. You, Nick?
Obviously, it's basketball. UCLA's basketball team has had significantly more success than their football program with John Wooden and in a remarkable 88-game winning streak. Basketball is probably the more famous sport, and they'll definitely get more coverage.
Well, thank you for tuning in to the Sideline Report. I'm Nathan.
I'm Jason Goldstein.
And I'm Nick Kohler.
Good to see you, and see you soon. Is that it?
3, 2.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Zach Ferber, along with my partners Jordan Hunter and Isaiah Hooper, here at UCLA, talking all things UCLA men's athletics. Let's start with the basketball. Never fear, Bruin fans. Along with the loss of Zach LaVine, Kyle Anderson, and Jordan Adams, to the NBA draft, there's a young man on the prowl waiting to get his chance. His name is Isaac Hamilton, ready to play and make his offensive game to a whole new level. Isaac, a former 5-star recruit, is ready and willing to lead the UCLA men's backcourt. Jordan, what do you think about this young UCLA team?
Yeah, it'll be tough to replace all that talent, but they have a young team, they have height, and they got some big men, so I think they'll do okay.
Alrighty, and I heard you have some football news, if that's correct.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Zach. UCLA is expected to be one of the top college football teams in the country and the Pac-12. They're led by junior quarterback Brett Hundley, the Sun Bowl MVP and projected Heisman Trophy candidate. Now, they do have some tough games on their schedule against teams like rival USC and powerhouses Stanford and Oregon, but luckily all three of those games are at home this year. And they're going to try to capture their first Pac-12 championship since 1998 and their first national championship since way back in 1954.
Wow, that's very interesting. I wish them the best of luck. I also heard we have some football news, Isaiah. Football, rather, but football.
Soccer, yeah. Hi, I'm sideline reporter Isaiah Hooper about some up-and-coming news about a new star goalie, Dakota Havoc, who's actually Zach's friend. They attended the same high school, Marietta Valley, and Dakota Havoc actually played for the U.S. Men's Development Soccer Academy. This guy is only 17 years old, and he is a stud. As one of the top goalies in the nation, he's coming to attend to UCLA here very shortly. You have to watch out for this guy. UCLA's first soccer game will be on August 19th against Nebraska. Be sure to look out for this guy. You don't want to miss it.
Very interesting, and I can't wait to see him. Great friend. Well, that wraps it up here at UCLA. For Jordan Hunter, Isaiah Hooper, I'm Zach Ferber. Thanks for watching, everybody.
And we're out. 2.
Hey guys, I'm Liam Gentile with
Louis Schmidt.
and
Justin Borsis.
and I'm here in the beautiful UCLA campus. Now, popular name here is Brett Hundley. He is the redshirt junior quarterback for the UCLA Bruins, and he's going to be a Heisman Trophy candidate, and he's also growing in popularity across the country. He was just on the Sports Illustrated cover, and he's a really explosive quarterback, so watch out for him this season.
Well, we know that the history here at UCLA is very rich. You got everything from John Wooden to Bill Walton. The amount of titles this school has won is humongous, and that this school is maybe the most well-known school in the country. So it's a hot spot for most locals.
Well, it also is, but it's also becoming a cool spot because of the Poly Pavilion and the flood. It's affected the basketball team and how they train, and I just feel like bringing in a yacht and having the hot dogs served up on the boat in the water in the Poly Pavilion.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the basketball team reacts to that. So I'm Liam Gentile here at the UCLA campus, again with
Louis Schmidt. And Justin Morsis.
and we're out. Thank you.